I have to leave because we're getting your colleague Josh Frydenberg speaking in Melbourne, holding a news conference. Let's listen in.
That's what the Labor Party is promising.
Just on early voting, looks like we'll have record numbers of early voting. You've obviously been out on pre-poll a lot in your electorate. Do you think we should restrict early voting to 1 or 2 weeks rather than the current time?
It does feel a bit long, 3 weeks, because obviously members want to get around the rest of their electorates, or indeed some members who are holding portfolio responsibilities either in government or shadow portfolio responsibilities would like to get around other parts of the country. But again, that's an issue that will probably be revisited by both sides of politics after this election.
Treasurer, how do you personally rate Chris Bowen and his economic credentials and ability to be Treasurer?
Well, I don't rate them very highly, given that he's promising $387 billion of higher taxes. That's exactly the wrong prescription for the Australian economy. And I would suspect that Chris privately would not feel very comfortable with a retirees tax that's going to hurt more than 1 million Australians who've done nothing wrong except diligently save for their retirement. I suspect he's feeling a bit uncomfortable about Labor's housing tax, which was designed at a time that housing prices were increasing. Now housing prices are decreasing, and what we have seen is an increase from the Labor Party in the capital gains tax and obviously abolishing negative gearing as we know it. And what we have seen is that caused real concern in the property sector, and the Master Builders Association say that it will cost 32,000 jobs and lead to 42,000 fewer dwellings being built. And I suspect Chris Bowen's feeling pretty uncomfortable too about increasing taxes on superannuation. Taxes which Bill Shorten looked down the camera and say we're not going up, but then was forced again to retract that just hours later. The reality is Chris Bowen and Bill Shorten are promising the wrong policies for the Australian economy. And those policies that Labor is proposing will lead to fewer jobs, will lead to lower wages and lower economic growth. That's not what this country needs.
Labor's pledged to release its costings by the end of this week. What do you believe they'll reveal?
Well, yesterday in the debate, Chris Bowen couldn't answer whether his costings will include these promises they're making about increasing research and development funding, increasing aid funding, increasing support in other areas like New Start. And again, I noticed that Bill Shorten was giving false hope to people who are on New Start by promising increases, but let's see it in his costings. So we'll have to wait and see whether these costings that the Labor Party reveal are actually a true reflection. But we know they've been on a spending spree. We know that the Labor Party are spending like drunken sailors. And this is not the time for this reckless spending from the Labor Party, because the more they spend, the more they tax, and the more they tax, the more the Labor Party weakens the Australian economy.
This is the most ambitious economic agenda an opposition has presented since John Hewson's fight back, and we know how that ended. Is Labor in danger of losing the unlosable election?
Well, it's the most reckless agenda that we've seen from the Labor Party. Not only are they promising $387 billion of higher taxes, but they're wanting to re-regulate the labour market to give the unions free rein. They're promising now to subsidise private sector wages with taxpayers' money. Where does that end? I mean, Chris Bowen couldn't answer the question yesterday, that what happens after 8 years' time. Not only has he undercosted and underfunded a $10 billion promise to the childcare workers based on 100,000 childcare workers, when we know there's 193,000 childcare workers. Not only has he underfunded that promise, but where does it end? And why is he doing it to boost union membership? The taxpayer should not be used by the Labor Party to boost union membership. Thank you.
Treasurer Josh Frydenberg.